Hey everybody, Jaberino here. Welcome back. It's Metroid Prime. It's going to be the finale of the first game, and then we'll head in Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. 100% complete, just over 4 hours. That's a really good time. It's actually a little lower than what you might expect if you added up all the video times, and that's because around when we entered Phendrana Drifts for the first time, when I started a video, I didn't realize that my encoder was not capturing the right input source. So I started recording and actually hit a save point, and I had to replay the whole game up until that point, which, again, it was only like a couple hours. So it was very quick. Anyway, that's going to reduce our total time because I was able to get back to that point even faster than what I had recorded, but not by much. So again, 4 hours, pretty reasonable. Could be even shorter if you didn't scan as many non-logbook items as I did. So with that in mind, we're going to head into the end. It's a bit of a boss rush of sorts. Oh, look at that sweet, sweet Phazon suit. Purple screen. And here we go. So we're going to head back to the impact crater. Got all our missiles, all our power bombs, all our energy tanks. Nothing else to pick up. All our artifacts. I am about 99.9% certain that I have every scan up until this point in the game. And there should be 1, 2, 3, I think 4 more scans to close it out. This was actually the first time I played the game and actually read all the pirate logs and all the Chozo lore. So I think going into Prime 2 and 3, I may actually read those as well, because I feel like for me, it added a little bit to the experience, something that I've never really done in the past. And I've played this game many, many, many times. So it's kind of neat to get that little extra fluff. How dare you, emulator stuttering. Ruin my immersion of the Meta Ridley introduction cutscene. Genetically enhanced Ridley Meta form, reborn and evolved through pirate technology, Meta Ridley is a fearsome enforcer. Its armored hide is extremely resilient, save for the chest, which has thinner plating. The pirates have fused a number of potent weapons to the creature, including a multi-missile system, a kinetic breath weapon, a Meson bomb launcher, and an ultra-thermal flame strike projector. Meta Ridley is also a formidable melee combatant, making any sort of engagement a risky proposition. Well, he's flying right now, so I wouldn't worry too much about the melee combat right now. So I'm just going to keep using the plasma beam. Make sure we're going to stun him out of shooting those missile barrages. So for this, he goes on these bombing runs, and I feel like he's very good at tracking where you go, even if you use the boost ball. So I'm just gonna fly in a circle and maybe avoid them. That seemed to work. Is he's just leaving again. I imagine there's some RNG to this. I don't know how speedrunners deal with this, or maybe they just glitch their way past Meta Ridley. But if you do that, then making another pass. He's making another pass, boys! But yeah, if you're speedrunning this and you have to actually kill him, I don't know if there's some way you can manipulate his AI to stop him from doing that. Or maybe it's not necessarily Maybe it's not necessarily RNG. Again, you can manipulate what he does by dealing specific damage to him depending on where he is. And again, we know that the charged plasma beam does nearly as much as a super missile, so I guess let's try to hit him with a super missile when he comes back. Again, it's like nearly as much, so we might as well test it and see, but it's going to be fairly comparable, so. I was actively boost balling. I have no idea how else you could possibly avoid that. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It homes. Well, I didn't get hit by any laser beams, so. Just blindly boosting in a circle, hoping that I'll avoid it. So it may seem like we're doing really well, but this is the easy part of Meta Ridley. Like, he only has a third health left, but we haven't even seen his final form. He's definitely going to come back and fly away. Wouldn't it be cool if he just didn't do that? Nope, there he goes. One concern is he broke all of the statues, which was what allowed us to put the artifacts in place to get into the impact crater. So how are we going to get down there? Ah! I really don't know how to avoid that. There's got to be a way, but I don't know what it is. Okay. Okay, he's on fire. Okay, so here's where the whole, like, he's a deadly melee combatant comes into play. He has, like, massive damage resistance compared to his first phase, so while it does only appear like he's got, like, 10% health left, this phase will take as long, if not longer, compared to the first phase, I think. You have to shoot him in the mouth to force him to expose his chest in the first place, at which point any damage that you do to it is going to be massively reduced, again, compared to the first phase. There's just enough time to maybe get a super missile in there. If we time it right, let's see if we can do it. If we time it right, we can stun him out of the charge that he does. Let's see if we can make it happen. He's just going to do the hop, it looks like. Letting loose a little too early. Getting a charge shot in though when he does. Yeah, perfect. Okay. There we go. Did that? What? What? What happened? So there are very limited windows with where you're able to stun him at all. There we go. That charge just does a boatload of damage to you. But it's a perfect opportunity to stun him out of it, too. Yeah. Got him. Finally, some flippin' friendly ghosts for once. We're here. We're in the impact crater. It's real spooky down here. So I'm going to save here, just in case if we hit a point in the impact crater or in the final boss fights where there's no music, because of whatever weird emulator reason, I want to make sure that I can restart down here, because the music and the atmosphere down here is flippin' cool. Material is highly radioactive. You will take damage from direct contact. Mutagenic qualities at least 86% greater than Phazon. Even our Phazon suit's not going to help us here. This room's filled with fission Metroids. I actually find it a little bit better to just run. Keep running. Alright. There's our last missile room of the game. And that's just to refill you after Meta Ridley. So it would probably be smart of me to kill these. Because we have to keep going up. If we got knocked off now, we'd have to climb all the way back up. I don't want to do that. Here. Sure. We're definitely going to get grabbed by this one. Let's just be ready for it. We should be good on missiles for the last boss. I guess I could go and get them back, and the fission Metroid shouldn't respawn. Let's let this one get close to us. There we go. And we just instant kill it with the power bomb. I think these are all the ones that we basically left behind at the bottom of the room. Probably shouldn't have done that in retrospect. So now I'm here having to kill him anyway. Oh my gosh. Better to let them hit you while you're stationary, because you really don't want to get knocked off and have to well, I mean, if they're all dead, reclimbing isn't that big of an issue. Weird little spider ball room. So we do have 100% items. We're missing 2 logbook scans, both final boss related. Metroid Prime, highly evolved phase-in-producing life form. The aberration known as Metroid Prime is the source of phase-in, making it immensely powerful. A genetic flaw makes it susceptible to certain weapons for brief periods. Only its head is truly vulnerable. Other attacks are a nuisance. Offensively, Metroid Prime has a number of natural and mechanical weapons at its disposal. These include ultra-frigid breath, multi-missiles, snare beams, and particle wave projectors. Its massive strength and barbed carapace make it lethal in melee combat. Recommend maximum firepower when engaging this enemy. So we have to use our variety of tools for this one. We're going to use a lot of missiles. We collected them through the game, so we're just going to use an ass ton of them. So other than I think the red form, weak to plasma, I'd say that missile combos are the most effective way to damage it. But it depends. Again, assuming we don't run out of missiles, we shouldn't. Purple's it's not too hard to hit either because purple our purple charge shot's home. So I'd be fine not using Ghostbuster Beam sometimes, if only to ensure that we have enough missiles for later on. Also, super missiles are the obvious choice against this form because, again, they home. Your normal charge shot isn't going to home. So that's the ice spreader. Freezes it in place, and then one ice beam blast will always force it out of ice form. I think I read that in like an old text guide for this game when I was younger. I always used it every time ever since. I think you have to use Boost Ball to break that. Oop. That's definitely worth the 5 missiles, or however much the ice spreader is. I think it's 5. Fire beam does lingering damage because it coats you with lava. The electrical beam breaks your lock on. Power beam just does a lot of damage, and the ice beam freezes you. It's like it has a variety of attacks that are like sort of duplicated between the different phases. Yeah. like that. But Ghostbuster Beam stays locked on because it doesn't require lock-on, which is flippin' great, and that's why we use it. No! Okay, well, I couldn't quite get in the groove underneath it in time. One thing that I quite like is how you just chase it down. It like falls to the floor and runs away, and you just run right after it. I think that's fantastic. So those things do a boatload of damage to you, so you don't want to... You always want to focus on not getting hit by the big orbs that it spawns. It's starting to get a little bit more erratic now. Oh, this is bad. With changing forms. You don't even have to damage it out of the forms. It just... Would you... Oh my goodness. I've never seen it charge this many times in a row. Take the damage first. I'd rather take the hits and get rid of the big flying orbs than not. Truly, I've never had it charge this many times in a row. Now it's just trolling me. Now it's just trolling me. Oh yeah, that was some good damage. Oh, go right back to purple. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Dude, we killed it with the Ghostbuster Beam. What I'm very pleased with is we did that and basically used all of our missiles, which is perfect. We collected them and we used them. Alright, let's see it. 100% logbooks should come after this. The core essence of Metroid Prime. Scans indicate that the phase-in energy form of Metroid Prime is invulnerable to all conventional weapons. Only attacks from a phase-in-fused arm cannon will damage it. It generates pools of phase-in when it attacks. Use these to fuel your suit's phase-in weapon system. The entity can also spawn Metroids to assist it in battle, rendering itself invisible when it does so. There it is. 100% a logbook, boys! Didn't have to go back for any of them. I guess let's recharge our energy here. So that's the only thing about this. This is kind of like Victory Lap. The first phase of Metroid Prime I find to be a lot more entertaining. This phase, it only has one attack. But the first phase is very much switch weapons, whereas this phase is very much switch visors, which I think is cool. So every time it drops a pool of phase-in, which is what you can use to damage it, you have to switch visors. So you can see it says that you toggle into Hypermode when you do that. Which is interesting because in Metroid Prime 3, a big mechanic of the game is being able to shift into hyper mode whenever you want, which is pretty cool. Now we get to watch the phase and beam in action without the visors on. So depending on its health level, it will spawn higher tier Metroids. So once it gets down to like 25% HP when it spawns a phase and pool, it'll spawn fission Metroids. And that's where we're just going to start power bombing to get rid of them quickly so that we can deal as much damage to Metroid Prime itself as possible. Because the phase and pool only lasts a certain amount of time. And it definitely, you can definitely waste it if you're not diligent about it. So while it seems easy in the sense that you probably won't die, if anything happens to cause you problems, it's probably going to be the spawned Metroids. And then not being able to utilize the full time period of the phase and pool. Ah, shit. We're getting him down. Him, her, it. Doesn't really matter, does it? It's going to be dead in approximately 3 minutes. 2, 3, maybe less. I think what'll be nice is we should be able to get it in the next phase and pool, assuming the Metroids that spawn don't mess us up, which means we'll be able to finish it in the with the normal visor on. So that's a positive. It's the little things in life. Now, actually, it might shift to X-ray when it spawns the phase and pool. Again, I don't know if it's RNG with how this functions. It's irritating either way. See ya. We've done it. She takes her helmet off at the end if you get 100%, which we did. We also beat the game very quick, under 5 hours, I think, which is pretty solid. I think probably, playing this game for the first time, you're probably looking between 8 and 10 hours. If you come back to it and have a general idea where you're going, probably closer to 6 to 7. Maybe a more optimized route, 4 to 5. Then, then maybe you want to focus in on, like, speedrun territory. Learn some glitches, learn some sequence breaking. Or, again, you can kind of do it how I do it, which is, like, I don't like glitching and sequence breaking. But I also like trying to figure out what I would consider an optimal path for a glitchless, non-sequence breaking route. And I think that's what this is. This was by no means speedy. This was supposed to be a showcase. So I scanned a lot of stuff. The scans have nothing to do with speed. But I also scanned a lot of non-logbook things just to show them, like space pirate computers and such. So that was fun, but also that was a lot of time. So if we were to remove all of that, and if we did like 100% items, 100% logbook, I'm kind of curious to know what our time would have actually been. Because I think if we were to remove all that fluff, maybe it would have been close to like 3:30. I don't know. So there was a lot of time in Phendrana Drifts and a lot of time in Phase and Mines where I was just very slowly walking through, also reading aloud the lore and reading aloud the non-lore, certain stuff. Like that takes that even though the game is frozen while you're reading in the logbook, that still counts towards in-game time, I believe. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about, again, I don't want to, like, I'm not going to be speed running the game, but I don't know, maybe with the route that I have here, this would make for a potential speedrun route for 100% items, 100% logbook. I don't even know if that's a category. 100% items almost definitely is. I don't know about logbook. But, yeah, I don't know if there's a speedrun category for non-sequence breaking. I'm sure there's a glitchless route, but I don't know about non-sequence breaking. But there's little things that you could do to save time. Like, hey, at the very beginning of the game, you beat the Hive Mecha, rather than even going forward one room to get the energy tank, and then turning around, just turn around without even getting the energy tank. That's just one example. Obviously, I went to the impact crater early, did not need to do that, could have saved some time there, but that was just to get the pirate log scan and then also get the first artifact, just to kind of reframe the game and what we were doing. And I think that's one thing that Metroid Prime didn't do well, which is basically give you a reason to be doing anything, right? Originally it was, hey, you're following Meta Ridley, you're looking for Meta Ridley, and then all of a sudden you're hunting for artifacts and you have to save the planet. And I think that's because, like, you have a relationship with the Chozo, so you want to save their planet. There we are. 4 hours, 27 minutes. That might be the fastest I've ever actually beaten the game. That's super solid, and we got 100% everything, including logbooks. Metroid Primes 2 and 3 logbooks are way more annoying. Way more annoying, because there are so many more things that you can accidentally miss along the way. Also, they're just larger games in general. So even if I have a planned out path, which I do for Prime 2, I still have yet to make one for Prime 3, it's still going to be a longer experience overall. But I think, while I would put Metroid Prime, the original, in like my top 5 games of all time, this is going to be weird to say. I would say, like, I like Metroid Prime 2 more, so I guess that would put Metroid Prime 2 in my top 5 games of all time, bumping Prime 1 down a little bit, or maybe they're both in there. I don't know, but just looking back, I look back very fondly on the original, even though I think 2 improved on it in many ways, but 2 takes time to grow on you. And obviously, we'll be playing that next. Sure. So Metroid Prime stole our suit. It turned into that big blob. Oh my gosh, that zapped my brain right there. So Metroid Prime stole our suit. So that's why, you know, that little bit of phase and pool, that was Metroid Prime, and then the little hand popped out. I think you only see that at 100%. Also, the pre-rendered cinematics look awful because none of the HD textures apply to them because, again, they're pre-rendered. So those are going to look super grainy and awful. That's why that end one did. And also the one where our ship was flying away at the end. All right, sweet deal. When we return, we'll be picking up Prime 2. I know that this series probably doesn't garner nearly as much viewership as my typical stuff, but again, this is one of my favorite games of all time. The trilogy in general is one of my favorite series of all time, so I really wanted to take the time to get a playthrough up on my channel, because a lot of my favorite stuff, there it is, completed 100%. Because a lot of my favorite stuff, you know, it's not just StarCraft and Warcraft, so I like to look back and look at the games that really influenced me when I was younger. A lot of Zelda, a lot of Metroid. I think like N64 and GameCube were contributed to some of my more formative gaming years. So it's cool to go back and play some of these games again. All right, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.